Milky Way, the great dim belt of light from fiery suns rolling in the depths of space. Our Milky Way, this vast star-filled triangle of counties reaching from the Atlantic to the St. Lawrence, from the Hudson Valley to Lake Erie, a Milky Way in which the brightest stars are nature and service and health. Radiant marvel of the first magnitude in our galaxy is the handiwork of nature. Here is an immense land of hills and plains and valleys with 2 billion years of wealth in it. They say of this mellow soil that the seas began it ages ago, when the waters repeatedly covered all but the mountains. Each time the great waters came and went, they laid down the deep layers of verdant earth, out of which a new millennium of green life was born. Yes, it took all that growth and eternity under the sun and sea, to brim every plant and grain with nourishment. Now the geometry of fertile fields and emerald pastures rules the landscape. A rich land has been turned to use. Our Milky Way is a sunlit factory where sun power builds plants, and in their tender foliage stores its light energy in untold chemical compounds. But of all the growing things which the sun loads with power and health, few are the equals of grass and grain. For in their slender leaves and kernels, science has discovered vitamins in fabulous amounts and varieties. How can we best tap these fantastically rich sources of health? Here's the answer. Through the 1.5 million stars of our Milky Way, these stars of our fine dairy herds. Nature is the great chemist, and in her sunlit factory, these dairy cows are wondrous laboratories wherein procedures of infinite complexity are carried out. To attempt to reproduce in each 24 hours their every chemical reaction would require an industrial plant and staff the size of a city. Yet, despite the magnitude of the task, the cow performs it with apparent ease, daily manufacturing nature's most nearly complete food, making it from the energy of the sun and the mineral wealth of the soil, stored in grass and grain. These are, however, no ordinary cows. It's an inheritance, their ability to produce rich milk in quantity, and the breeding of this inherent capacity into our dairy herds began centuries ago across the sea. Our Guernsey cows, for instance, boast of remote ancestors from the Channel Islands of France. The Jersey breed, noted for rich milk, originated in the same group of islands. These Holsteins, queens of high productivity, have a family tree rooted in the ancient pastoral provinces of northwestern Europe. And the Ayrshires have an unbroken line of descent going back to the 18th century in the county of Ayr in Scotland. These 4 great dairy breeds are the major producers on the 135,000 farms in our Milky Way, farms valued at more than $1 billion. Still another bright constellation in our orbit is the vast and efficient system of milk distribution. From farms to cities, over a maze of haulage lines, the chilled fresh milk is rushed by rail in huge insulated tanks and in giant thermos tank trucks by road, all run on timetable schedules. Starring also in the intricate delivery network are the hygienic methods and unique equipment employed to assure us a wholesome product. Typical of the $200 million plant and distribution facilities is this automatic container filler. Before this filling process, there are, of course, many other protective operations: testing and clarifying, then heating and pasteurization, followed by rapid chilling, all without exposing the milk to air or handling. Its food value, flavor, vitamin and mineral richness, unimpaired by these scientific health insurance procedures, the fresh milk is now ready to perform its miracles for the consumer. Most familiar star of all in our Milky Way is the cheerful milkman who faithfully makes his deliveries despite storm and flood or blizzard and heat wave. Humanity's priceless possession is health, and fresh milk can help preserve it. For milk is a first line of defense against colds and fatigue. It can protect you while you reduce, help you enjoy a clear complexion, aid you in preparing for the critical 40 line. And in providing this unequaled source of well-being, our milk industry has invested $2 billion to safeguard the health of every man, woman, and child in our Milky Way. For 1,000,000 years, food has been the product of man's greatest enterprise. Yet for all these 10,000 centuries, he suffered from ignorance of the essentials of a healthful fare. Then came the first glimmer of dietary daylight. Its source, strangely enough, an unsuccessful experiment of a fameless biologist just 50 years ago.
It was a perfect diet. Protein, sugar, purified fat, even all the necessary minerals. Why, they should have thrived on it. They lost strength instead, wasted away, apparently starved. Another puzzling failure.
Yet long after, this failure inspired another scientist to continue the search for the secret of diet. 7 years he experimented before he told the world about a riddle of nutrition, and a few men of science listened.
I repeated my predecessor's experiments with one innovation. I added an insignificant quantity of milk to his so-called perfect diet. The result, gentlemen, was little short of miraculous. My diet with milk produced vigorous health. His, lacking milk, but otherwise identical, brought on sickness, weakness, mental lethargy. I am convinced, therefore, that some obscure chemicals present in milk are vital to health and growth. These vital ingredients I have named accessory food factors.
This marked the turning point in our knowledge of nutrition. For the discovery of accessory food factors in fresh milk led to the research that recognized and christened them vitamins. Today, scientists tell us,
you see, the materials needed to maintain the processes we call life are relatively few in number. And one of the great secrets, all of these essentials have a definite interrelation. If one is lacking in our diet, the others lose much of their power to function. This means, of course, that completeness and balance are more vital than large quantities of a few ingredients.
But how can the average person be sure that he's getting his full quota of these vitamins and minerals?
Well, nature took care of that with a nearly perfect food, milk. Milk contributes balance and completeness to a diet. Moreover, its many vitamins have much to do with the assimilation of its own and other minerals. That's why science says that milk helps us to live at our best and longer.
yes, milk helps us to live at our best and longer. And living at our best means fitness and aliveness, the vitality to play, to go places, the vigor to live long and well. It is history that the peoples who have made liberal use of fresh milk as a food have attained physical superiority and longevity, and that they have developed in higher degree the pattern of life which offers the greatest opportunity to the individual. These ultimate products of our Milky Way are the elements in the strength of a people, and their full attainment by one and all is the constant endeavor of the great state of New York.